Let's start your dealer training course with some updated contact information for the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles, or the BMV. The BMV has full-time employees that work in the dealer licensing section in Columbus, and the employees of the dealer licensing section are an encyclopedia of dealer knowledge, and their full-time job is to help us maintain compliance. They're going to be able to answer any questions you have, and they will also process your initial dealer license application. Throughout the course, we're going to cover all the paperwork that you need to apply for your license, but if you ever need their mailing address, you can contact them at P.O. Box 16521 in Columbus, 43216. You can also call the dealer licensing section at 614-752-7636. And you even have a special email address set up for you. It's DPS, dealer support, at dps.ohio.gov. And the official website for the dealer licensing section is autodealers.ohio.gov. And I'm going to take you to that website several times throughout your training course. And on that website, you'll easily be able to download all the forms that you need to run your dealership. You can order temporary tags, which we're going to cover here in just a little while. You'll be able to order titles for customers. And I'm going to show you how to do all of this in your dealer training course. In Unit 1 of your dealer training course, I want to show you all the steps that are necessary to obtain an Ohio used motor vehicle dealer license. I'm going to show you how to submit your dealer license application. I'm going to talk to you about your electronic fingerprinting requirement, your building and display lot requirement, your dealer surety bond, the sign that you must have, the photographs, your hours and records. I'll talk about your net worth requirement. I'm going to show you how to easily obtain your vendor license. I'm going to talk about how to register your business with the Ohio Secretary of State. We're going to complete what's known as an I-9 employment eligibility form. I'm going to show you how to get your federal employment identification number. We'll talk about your dealer course and a very quick and simple location inspection. One of the steps involved in your dealer license is actually applying for the license itself. We have a whole section later on in this unit where I'm going to cover the application process extensively so you can apply for your dealer license in the correct manner, which should expedite the approval so you can obtain your dealer license as soon as possible and start your new business as soon as possible. All dealer licenses must now be submitted online, and I want you to be aware that BMV no longer accepts mailed-in dealer license applications. You must apply for your dealer license online, and we're going to complete that dealer license application online together here in just a few moments, so you will have completed that step before we finish this first unit. We're going to complete the dealer application together just in a few moments to ensure that it is done correctly. Let's talk about your electronic fingerprinting requirement. Here very soon, you're going to be handling very large financial transactions. Most of the vehicles that you sell will probably be worth several thousands of dollars. And when you become a dealer, you're going to have complete oversight over these very large financial transactions. And before the BMV issues your dealer license, they want to make sure you've never been involved in any type of motor vehicle crimes. The state wants to make sure they're not giving a dealer's license to somebody that stole a car or rolled back odometers, because they require us dealers to be of a higher level of ethical standards than the average person that's walking down the street. And they definitely don't want to issue a dealer license to somebody that was managing some nationwide auto theft ring a couple of years ago. So you're going to be electronically fingerprinted before you are granted a dealer's license. When you get your fingerprints done, the tech taking your fingerprints will ask where you want your results. And please make a note of this. You'll need to tell them to direct copy BMV dealer licensing. Make sure and tell that tech to direct copy BMV dealer licensing, and they will automatically send the results to the dealer licensing section in Columbus. The tech will also ask you if you want BCI or FBI or both. To get a dealer's license, you'll only need BCI, and that's the state's Bureau of Criminal Investigations. So don't pay extra for the FBI. You'll only need BCI. You probably live within 5 minutes of any fingerprint location, but if you're not sure where to obtain your fingerprints, you can simply go to the Ohio Attorney General's office. That's ohioattorneygeneral.gov. Scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on what's called Web Check Locations. And on this page, you'll just simply enter your zip code, your home zip code, and you're going to see several fingerprint locations close to you. And here you'll see the pricing for BCI, FBI, or both. And remember, you only need BCI for your fingerprints. And this shows the BMV that you didn't just get out of prison for robbing a bank. So you do have to get fingerprints to show the state that you are basically a high level of ethical standards. Next, I want to talk about your business building. You must have a business building in order to obtain an Ohio dealer license. The state does not issue some type of cloud-based dealer's license that would allow you to basically show up at the Target parking lot and sell a vehicle and then disappear forever, okay? The state does require that your dealer license is located at a bricks and mortar building. The building that you use for your dealer's license must be zoned to operate a dealership. The state requires all dealer buildings to meet local zoning requirements. So you can call your city hall or county courthouse, and normally you can ask for planning or zoning. Tell them the address of the building, and they will let you know whether you can operate a dealership at that location. It's very important that the building that you use meets local zoning. I know folks that have purchased a building to start a dealership only to find out later that the building was not zoned to allow a dealership. So before you lease, rent, or purchase a building, you must ensure it's zoned to allow the operation of your dealership. The building must have an office with at least 180 square feet with walls that go from the floor to the ceiling. And state law also requires that your office has at least one desk, 3 chairs, and 1 filing cabinet. I want to repeat that. State law requires that you have at least 1 desk, 3 chairs, and 1 filing cabinet. State law also requires that your office have electrical service, adequate lighting, permanent heat, and some type of ventilation. The state wants to make sure that you have a safe retail office area that is conducive for completing motor vehicle transactions. They don't want you completing paperwork with the customer, in a garage next to some car up on a jack or something like that. The state also wants to make sure that your office never becomes a storage area. They do not want you storing tires and batteries and fenders and transmissions in your office. It cannot be a storage area. It must be a safe place for you to complete motor vehicle transactions. You're also going to need an official dealership phone. If you want to have a landline running into your office, you can, or you can use that cell phone in your pocket. But whatever phone you are using as your official dealership phone, that phone has to be answered in the dealership name. On the building, you must post your hours of operation and you must post your phone number as well. The state wants to make sure that you're accessible to your customers, whether they have questions about a vehicle they want to purchase from you, or maybe they've got questions about a vehicle they've already purchased. You need to be accessible to your customers, and that's why you must have your contact information posted on the building. So make sure your building is zoned correctly. Make sure you have an office with at least 180 square feet. Make sure you have at minimum a desk, 3 chairs, and 1 filing cabinet, and post your hours and phone number. Your display lot. You must have a display line to show the vehicles that you're selling, and your display lot must be the same address as your building. You must have at least a 3,500 square foot lot. Now that lot can be on the exterior of the building or the interior of the building, or a combination of both. So let's say, for example, maybe you've got 1,000 square feet inside and 2,500 square feet on the outside. That would meet the minimum requirement. The state wants to make sure your customer parking is also physically separated from any other neighboring business's customer parking. The BMV does not want a neighboring business's customers accidentally parking on your lot, and then someone thinks that vehicle's for sale. That is confusion the BMV wants you to avoid, so you must always have physical separation between your lot and any customer parking. So what is physical separation? It can be curbing, landscaping, wood, metal support cable. Maybe you've got two posts and a couple of buckets with a metal cable in between to meet the physical requirements. That should be okay. The BMV also wants to make sure you keep your retail vehicles separate from your wholesale vehicles. Your retail vehicles are the vehicles that you have prepped and ready to sell to retail customers on the lot. And a wholesale vehicle could be a vehicle that you've taken on trade and you're just going to sell it down at the dealer auction. Also, it is very important to know that all of your retail sales activity must take place only at your licensed location. So what do I mean by this? Right now, I'm assuming you do not have a dealer's license, so you can basically take your car, put a for sale sign on it, and stick it out in front of the Walmart parking lot. There's nothing against the law there, but the Walmart manager is probably going to run you off. But when you become a dealer, that law changes. And when you have a dealer's license, all of your retail sales activity must take place right on your lot. So let's just say your lot is on the north side of Columbus and you have someone that found your vehicle online and they ask if you can show it in downtown Columbus. Well, you can never do that. That's known as off-site sales activity, which is a violation of state law. So you will have to explain to some of your customers that the state does not allow that. they will have to come take a look at and view the vehicle at the retail location. Now, how do you stay compliant with that law when you're handling internet transactions? Because maybe you're going to be selling all of your vehicles online, and that's okay. Well, let me explain how to comply. Let's just say you've got a lady from Dallas, Texas that found a truck that you have for sale on autotrader.com. And let's say she contacts you and she says that is the exact truck that she wants. Okay, no problem. What you're going to need to do is submit all the paperwork to her and have her sign all that paperwork, and she's going to mail that paperwork back plus the payment for the vehicle, and that's going to show the vehicle was sold on site. Then you could ship or even deliver that vehicle to the lady in Dallas as long as you can prove the paperwork's completed and the payment was received at your on-site location before shipping or delivering that vehicle. What you could not do, however, is say, for example, meet that lady at some truck stop in Oklahoma City and complete the paperwork there and take the payment there. That would be an illegal off-site transaction. So it is imperative that you comply with this law. Off-site retail sales activity is never allowed once you get your dealer's license. Your dealer surety bond. You must obtain a $25,000 dealer surety bond before you apply for your dealer license. So is a $25,000 dealer surety bond going to cost you $25,000? No, of course not. A dealer surety bond is based on your credit score. So with good credit, a $25,000 dealer surety bond should cost, I'm going to predict, around $200 to $300 a year. If you do have a couple of blemishes on your credit score, the price of your dealer surety bond could increase dramatically. We are required to hold a dealer surety bond to ensure that you're going to operate your dealership with the very highest level of ethical standards. And I want to explain to you real quickly here when a dealer surety bond could come into the play of your new business. Let's say, for example, some old school unethical guy was able to get through the fingerprint processes and was able to obtain a dealer's license. And let's say this old school unethical guy sold 3 cars with defective transmissions and did not disclose the defective transmissions to the customers. Well, that dealer has broken multiple state and federal laws. I mean, obviously, you can never sell a vehicle that has mechanical defects that you're aware of without disclosing those defects in writing. And I'm going to show you a form at the end of the course that you can give that disclosure. But let's say this old school dealer sold these defective vehicles with defective transmissions, and within a day or two, those customers are going to realize they've been duped. They're going to hire an attorney, and they're more than likely going to sue that dealer. Well, if a dealer is ever convicted of what's called fraudulent sales activity, they can easily have their dealer license revoked permanently. So let's say this dealer has had his license revoked. He has no lot. Maybe he's bankrupt, doesn't have a penny to his name. Well, how do those previous customers seek financial recourse that he sold those defective vehicles to? Well, no matter how broke that dealer is, the customer can get a $25,000 claim on the dealer surety bond. So the dealer surety bond protects customers from the small handful of unethical dealers that are operating in the state, and it ensures that we operate our dealerships with the very highest level of ethical standards. If I can give you a little bit of advice here, when you're selling a vehicle on your lot, be sure you disclose every detail of that vehicle that you're aware of. For example, you might tell that customer, hey, I was driving this car the other day and I heard some noise in the rear end. I also felt like this car was pulling a little bit to the left. And, before you take the test drive, I want you to be aware there's a big dent here in the back left fender. I just want to make sure you're aware of everything before the test drive. If you disclose everything you know about the vehicle before the test drive, you're going to see some really magical things happen with your dealership. You're going to get a lot of repeat customers. You're going to have, I predict, entire families that will purchase multiple vehicles from you over the years because they trust you. You're going to get great reviews online, and many of the customers will read your great reviews before they come onto your lot, and they will be ready to buy. And studies have actually shown that a customer will pay more for a vehicle when they're dealing with a dealer that they trust. Your customer is going to trust a lot more of an investment with you, the honest, ethical dealer, than they will the crooked dealer down the street that's lying to every single person that walks in the door. Operating your dealership with the highest level of ethical standards will ensure your repeat business from customers. You're going to have great online reviews. Your profits will be much higher, and you're going to sleep great at night. And nobody's going to sue your bond because you didn't disclose that defective transmission that you were aware of. I've seen it time and time again. Honest and integrity will take you to the very top of this industry, profit-wise. Now, most of the paperwork that you're going to be completing in just a little bit will be submitted online to the dealer licensing section, with the exception of your original dealer surety bond. You must mail your original dealer surety bond to the Attorney General's Office Consumer Protection Unit. And you see the address right there, 30 East Broad, 14th floor, Columbus, 43215. I want to give you that quick reminder again, okay? You're going to need to submit all your paperwork online, which I'm going to show you how to do here in just a moment, with the exception of your original dealer surety bond, which must be physically mailed to the Attorney General's office. And at the end of the course, we're going to go down a checklist to ensure that all your required documents are mailed to the correct location. All your dealer license application documents are submitted online, but I'll give you that address again at the end of the course to ensure that you're mailing your original dealer surety bond to the Ohio Attorney General's office. Let's talk about your business sign. The BMV wants to make sure your building is identified as a dealership, so you're going to need to have a permanent sign created that must be displayed on your building. State law requires that your entire registered name and any fictitious or trade name on the sign are at least 6 inches high or larger. So your entire registered name must be displayed. Let's say, for example, your dealership's registered name is Ohio Motors LLC, doing business as Columbus Car Sales. You must have Ohio Motors LLC, doing business as Columbus Car Sales, in at least 6-inch high or larger letters. So make sure the entire registered name is clearly displayed on your building in at least 6-inch high or larger letters. And don't forget, you must also post your hours and phone number as well. There's no size requirement on the hours and phone number. Only the registered business name in its entirety must be at least 6 inches high or larger. Business photographs. You're going to need to submit some photographs of your dealership before you're granted your dealer's license. The BMV wants to know what your operations look like, so you're going to submit a photograph of your display lot area, the physical barriers that show separation of the business and parking from any other businesses, the inside and outside of the office, the sign with your registered name, your posted hours, your posted phone number, and then the BMV wants you to step across the street and take a picture of the entire operation from across the street. Now, you'll be able to easily get those photographs scanned onto your computer. I'm going to show you here in just a little bit. We're going to easily upload those through that dealer online licensing system that I'm going to show you here in just a few moments. This new online licensing system ensures that all the documentation that you need to apply for your dealer license is submitted correctly and should expedite the approval of your dealer's license. Business hours. You must maintain official business hours when you have a dealer's license. You're going to post your official hours on the front of the building, and you're also going to enter your official hours on your online dealer application that I'm going to show you in a few moments, and these will be your official hours that are on record in Columbus with the BMV. You must staff your dealership correctly during the official hours of operation. During your hours of operation, you must either be staffed by an owner, partner, or a licensed salesperson. And I want to repeat that very important information. You must be staffed by either an owner, partner, or licensed salesperson. You cannot say, for example, leave the dealership staffed by a mechanic while you go to the dealer auction for a few hours, unless, of course, your mechanic has a salesperson's license. Your dealership must be staffed during your posted hours. You may be staffed more than the posted hours, but the dealership cannot be staffed less than the posted hours. If you ever want to change the hours of operation, let's say the first round of hours that you chose are not working out for you, you can certainly change your hours, but you would need to update the signage on your building to reflect the new hours, and you'll also need to take a new photograph of the hours and notify the BMV of your new hours within 15 days. Remember, state law requires dealers to be staffed during your official hours. And I want you to be aware your official hours, you have to be open at least 5 hours per week, and 2 of those hours have to be between 8 o'clock a.m. and 5 o'clock p.m. from Monday through Saturday. Monday through Friday. So once again, you have to be open at least 5 hours, a minimum of 5 hours. 2 of those hours are required to be sometime between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. from Monday through Friday. Records. Document every piece of paperwork that comes across your desk. You're going to maintain records. The most important piece of office equipment that you're going to need with a dealer's license is going to be a copier or a scanner. You know, if you think you're going to run this new business without a scanner, it ain't going to happen. If you have a piece of paper that relates to the operation of your dealership, you will never throw it away. You're going to make a copy of it and keep it a minimum of 3 years. And here in just a little while, I'm going to show you odometer disclosure statements, electronic title applications, and federal forms. Those forms must be kept for a minimum of 5 years. So you're going to be creating a huge paper trail with your new business. If you ever close your dealership, which I do not believe that you will, but even if you do, you must keep all the records for at least 3 years after you close. The reason I say I do not believe you're going to close your business is because this can be a very lucrative business, and I think you're going to find that out pretty soon. The main reason I see dealers go out of business is because they got into too much debt. Here very soon, I can almost assure you that you can walk into your first dealer auction and an auction salesperson is going to welcome you with open arms. They're going to offer you some coffee and some donuts, and then they're going to offer you what is known as a floor plan. And a floor plan is a loan for your vehicles that you have on your lot, because your lot is often referred to as your floor. So a floor plan is a loan for the vehicles on your floor. And I can almost guarantee you can walk into any dealer auction in Ohio and complete a little bit of paperwork and easily obtain at least a $250,000 floor plan. A floor plan is just like a credit card. So you always need to remember that because of this, floor plans kill dealers every day. On more than one occasion, I've helped someone like you get their dealer's license, and I'll drive by their dealership. They just opened, and they'll have 50 cars out on the lot with balloons flying all over the place, salespersons running all over the place. And then I'll drive by a few weeks later, and that same lot is empty, and there's a for lease sign in the window. And there's normally only one reason for this. That dealer was not able to pay their floor plan, and they went out of business. You know, nothing against dealer auctions, but they have nothing to lose by giving you a floor plan. If you do not pay on that floor plan, the dealer auction could just simply repossess your entire inventory and then sell vehicles the next week dealer's auction to some other dealer that just got their first floor plan. So I want you to be aware floor plans kill dealers every day. I don't want you to be discouraged from obtaining a floor plan. Just keep your floor plan manageable. And when you sell a vehicle, pay down your floor plan. And you should have a goal to have a cash inventory, which means you owe nothing on your inventory, which is going to lead to higher profits for you in your new business because you're not paying interest on floor plans. So we're going to delve into records here in just a little bit. In order to obtain a dealer's license, the net worth of the business must be at least $75,000. Now, how can a business that hasn't even been started have a net worth of $75,000? Well, if you're the only person on the license, you need to be worth $75,000. Or if you have multiple partners, your total net worth needs to be at least $75,000. And I'll talk about this a little bit more extensively when we actually apply for the license. But when you check the box on that application, it must be true. Because if you say that you're worth $75,000 and you're not, that could be a misdemeanor. So the only time the BMV would require proof would be, for example, if they have heard you've declared bankruptcy or something like that. They might require an additional financial disclosure statement. But all dealers must maintain a net worth of $75,000. And later on, when we apply for the license, I'm going to show you exactly how to easily figure out your net worth. You'll need to obtain a vendor's license. And by the way, I'm going to give you a chronological list of everything that you're going to need to do. So don't be intimidated by all these steps. It's very, very easy to do. Some of these steps take a couple of moments online. Later on in the course, we're going to run through an entire deal. We're going to purchase a vehicle to resell all the way to where we will sell the vehicle. And during this transaction, you're going to be charging sales tax on that vehicle. And I'm going to show you how to easily do this later on in your dealer training course. But before you can legally charge sales tax on a vehicle you sell, you're going to need a state vendor license. And I'm going to show you how to easily obtain your state vendor license at the Ohio Business Gateway in just a little while. But if for some reason you're not comfortable with that online process, you can also get your vendor license at your county courthouse's auditor office. Just go into your auditor office and pay the fee, and you can obtain a vendor license on the spot. But I am going to show you how to avoid that trip to your auditor's office at the courthouse. And we're going to apply for the vendor license online in your dealer training course here in just a little while. And it's very, very easy to do. Most dealers are going to register with the Secretary of State. The Ohio Secretary of State is not only the state's leading election authority, they also maintain a record of every business entity that's operating in the state of Ohio, and they want a record of the dealership that you're getting ready to open. We have a whole section later on in the course where I'm going to show you how to easily register your new business with the Secretary of State. But I want to make sure that you have this phone number. Please jot this number down. This is the Secretary of State's Corporations Division. It's 614-466-2655. Once again, a very important number. Please jot this number down. 614-466-2655. You can actually register your business over the phone, but they're going to encourage you to do that online. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit. But we're going to discuss business entities and things like that. You can get legal advice, or you can call that number, and they will be a wealth of information for you if you have any type of business entity questions, which we're going to cover later on extensively in your dealer training course. Now I want to talk about your I-9 employment eligibility form. The state wants to make sure every person whose name appears on a dealer's license and every future employee is in fact eligible to work in the United States. So you're going to need to complete what is known as an I-9 employment eligibility form for every person whose name appears on the license and each future employee. Now you can easily download this form for free at uscis.gov. You do not have to submit this form with your dealer license application, but the state does require that you store this in your records. The state of Ohio just wants to make sure that you're complying with federal employment requirements. Once again, uscis.gov. You can complete that I-9 employment eligibility form. You do not submit it with your application. You're going to store that in your records. Federal Employment Identification Number. I'm going to make a very, very confident prediction here, and I predict your income is going to increase dramatically within the next year. Having a dealer license can be very lucrative. And with that income increase, I guarantee you the federal government is going to want a little piece of that action when it comes to tax time. So you need to obtain a federal tax identification number, sometimes referred to as your federal employment number or your EIN. And this is the number that the federal government basically attaches to your new business that you are getting ready to start. And you're going to need to enter this number on your dealer license application. And I'm going to show you how to obtain your free federal tax employment number later on in the course. It takes just a few minutes. So this will show the state that you are prepared to pay taxes on your newfound income. And I'm going to show you exactly how to obtain that number for free. There are companies that charge as much as $600 to help you get your federal employment number. We're going to jump right onto the IRS website here in just a few minutes, and I'll show you how to get that number at no charge. The dealer class. Since 2016, the state has required anybody getting a license for the first time to complete a 6-hour dealer training course before you can obtain your Ohio used motor vehicle dealer license. So it's just like if you want to obtain a real estate license, that can be very lucrative. So the state requires you take training before you can obtain a real estate license. An insurance license can be quite profitable, and you must take training before you obtain an insurance license. And having a dealer's license can be extremely profitable. And the state does require that you take a 6-hour course before you can apply for most state licenses. There currently is no continuing education requirement in the state. Many states require dealers to take 4 to 8 hours of continuing education every year or every other year, but Ohio does not have continuing education requirement. However, I'm going to tell you this several times. I want you to be aware that the certificate of completion that you receive on the day that you complete your training course is good for exactly 6 months from that date. So you will need to complete all these steps that we're talking about here and apply for your dealer license within 6 months of the last day of your course. Otherwise, your certificate of completion will expire, and state law is very clear. They will require you to take the entire 6-hour course again. I want to really encourage you to complete all your pre-licensing steps and get your application into Columbus before your certificate expires. And I think you're going to be very glad that you're getting into this industry. It can be very rewarding, and I'm going to do my very best to show you how to apply for your license as fast as possible so you can get your business open as fast as possible and get you making some money as fast as possible. Now, this is where we are. Once you've completed all the steps I've just talked about, you're going to submit that dealer application, and I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit, and you should receive your license in about 4 to 6 weeks. When you receive your dealer license, you will be an officially licensed motor vehicle dealer, and you're going to be purchasing vehicles and reselling them on your lot, and you're going to begin operations. Shortly thereafter, you're going to get a call from a BMV investigator, and they want to conduct what's called your official lot inspection. And they're going to make an appointment with you, and they're going to visit your dealership just to make sure that you're in compliance. They're going to make sure your lot's physically separated from any other customers parking. They want to make sure your hours and phone number are posted. They want to make sure you have your sign with the entire registered business name in at least 6-inch high or larger letters. If there's any type of problem whatsoever with this location inspection, the state's not going to shut you down. They're going to give you a window to correct any mistakes. But as long as you're doing everything that we're talking about in the course, you should be good to go. And that should be a very, very quick inspection. It only takes a few moments. And if, like I said, if there's any problem, your inspector will let you rectify that problem and come back for a second inspection. But try and make sure that you've got everything ready to go so the BMV investigator does not have to come back and make a second visit. I'm going to tell you this several times as well. You must display your dealer license prominently. Your license is going to expire the last day of March every 2 years, and you must return your dealer renewal before January 31st of that year. And if you are operating your dealership in separate counties, you will need a separate license for every single one of your counties.